Good evening. My name is Kodiripaka Nikhil. I am working at Coding Tutor as a Python developer. Today I am going to explain about a code which interacts with Python and API and it gives a output. I am doing just a sample program called a weather API. How the Python will interact with that API and it shows the output. Let's get started. As you can see, this is my welcome dashboard for my application. Here I have given a welcome to the weather dashboard with a .center 152 hash. It will I also generated a user credentials like how it will interact with the database. I have a database called Postgres. As you can see here in weather application, in weather database, there are no tables right now. See, it's why I will refresh it. Here there are no tables. So basically I have taken a while loop here to create username, existing user or exit the dashboard. I have given certain conditions like if the user select 1, 2 or 3, my Python code will perform in such a way. Now let's get started with the user one. So here I have imported two modules called psychopg2 as pg. I have created a class called main. Inside that I have created a def method called connection. Here I have integrated my connections and credentials with the database called connection. With the cursor is equals to con.cursor, it will try to commute that command, and cursor.execute will create that table. Here as you can see, create table if not exist. If not exist means if table is already created, it won't create an additional table called users. Now I have created the user id serial as primary key, username, and also I have provided a password, and I am committing that commit will save the above query into the database. So currently I didn't run the program, so it's not showing to there. I will run it in a short moment. I have created a user called, I have written a method called create user. Here again I have connected to my database and I have mentioned as inputs as enter username. Cursor.execute, we will enter the username in such a way that it will fetch the users from the table. It will fetch those records into the table. Now after that it will shows that if cursor dot fetch one line, this line will tell us that if that user is already exist, it will print that user is already exist. If not, it will come into the while loop and it will go for the further process. And here I have taken a variable called password and I am telling to the persons to provide a strong password. I have taken a special character as a variable and I have written these special characters to there. If any char in one special character for char in password, that statement satisfies, then it will goes to the password criteria. Here the password byte password.encode utf-8 it is the command which comes from the import binary module. From that module it will check that the salt and get salt round equal to 12. It will fetch those data from that module, and next it will execute the insert command into the database. Then again I have written a print statement that user saved successfully. And since it is in a while loop, I need to break that loop if the user is saved correctly. If not, it will say that please provide the necessary characters. and here I am closing the database connection. Since I have opened the database connection here, so I am telling to close the connections here. That is for creating a username and password. If the user is already a existing person, then it comes to the here. From the dashboard, I am importing the weather and import get pass. Here these two are from the database. I am going to explain this part of the code in a bit. As you can see, I have written a function called existing user, and here again I have opened the database connection and I have taken into a while loop called, and I have written it is a true, and here I am giving the name password. If the password matches with the already existing with the user and everything, then I have written this condition that the login credentials are incorrect, and I am telling it to continue. Here from the database I am fetching the row 1, which the row 1 is nothing but the IDs of the usernames, and here I am checking those password in a binary in bcrypt format or not. If the password matches that bcrypt format, then it will print the login successful. As you can see, I am here closing those connections again, and I am calling this weather function. From that function I am fetching this user ID. I am passing it as a parameter user ID in this weather function. Here I have written break in order to break this while loop, else it will show the incorrect login details. Here I have written the dashboard for my weather API. Here again I have opened the database connection, which I want to store my existing data into a database. For each user we need to store several different types of weather records. So it's not only it's not only for the one user. If I created one or two or three users, it will show the previous record what that user has been shown into this database. So I have written a function with a previous records, and I passed a parameter user ID. Here I have taken a try exception block, and again I have opened this database connection here, and I am executing that select query command, which is I am going to call in a short moment, like temperature, field likes, description, humidity, wind. So these all are the details I am going to fetch from that database. From the rows I am fetching these. I am trying to fetch all the database into the output. If the row satisfies that condition, it will show that previous weather reports for us. I have written here for I in rows, which basically loops uh, each and every column into the output. Each and every row into the output. Here, if the user has no previous records, then it will show that no previous weather data found for you. Here I am closing those connections, and since I have written it in a try block, so I am writing an exception for that program. If if any of this code has might got wrong, then it will says that error fetching the previous records. What if the user is calling it for the first time? Here I have written a function called weather, and I am passing a parameter called user ID. This is my base API URL. This is my base key which I fetched from that website. So I am I am entering this city now, and I am taking this base URL from that API. So that API is nothing, it's none other than Open Weather Map. So I am fetching that API from the URL, and here I have written in a string format. I have started a try exception block. From here I have taken the a response is equals to request.get. Here request is a module which will fetch the API records from the servers or from the URLs. If record.status is equals to 200, I am mentioning that some random count as a 200. If it is more than 200 seconds, the server might get shut down, or the we need to show that that response is not working. I mean that server is not working properly. So here I am each and everything fetching the data from that server, like data is equals to json dot response dot json, temperature is equals to data dot main and temp. Here fields like description, humidity, wind, each and everything I am fetching, and from that data I am trying to print in a string format, like how many degrees Celsius it feels like, how many temperature it has, that current city feels like, weather, humidity, wind speed, and so on. Here if it is, here I have mentioned it as 200. If it is past the more than here as you can see, here I have mentioned the timeout is equals to 10. If the timeout passes the more than the 10 seconds, it will throw an error called fail to fetch the data city. Here I have written this part of the program in a context manager, that where I am opening those connections and closing it automatically. Here basically I have from, as you can see here, I have written the connections and I am closing the connections here manually. With the context manager, with the with command, here I can open the commands and close automatically. Here I have started again the connection, and I am trying to execute to insert the data into the data table. Here I am fetching each and every record. Here I am printing those records in the output, and after the print I am saving those records into the database. If any of those conditions might fail, here I have written certain exception blocks like request.exception timeout, that the server took too long to respond. Key error, if any unexpected key, if we typed in an API, it will throw an error. If any other exception might rise, it will show the user that particular error had happened in the output. So why don't I just wrap it, and let's get how it might work. As you can see here, I have written welcome to the weather dashboard. It is showing me to create existing user, or exit the dashboard. As you can see, it is saying me to please select option, since I have written please select option over here. If I type none other than like 445, something like that, it says that please enter the proper option. That means we need to give the proper prompt. I am creating a user. It tells me to enter a username. Here I am writing Nikhil, and please provide at least one special character. With these characters I need to provide a password. So I am mentioning like Nikki @1236. So this is my password. Since I am creating the username and password for the first time, it is showing my password here. Now let's hit enter. It says that username saved successfully. So why don't we go and check in the database? Let's refresh this. Yeah, here you can see both the tables have been created. In users, as you can see here, with my username Nikhil, with my password. So since I have written in a bcrypt format, it is not showing, it is not showing the whatever I have given the password in the database. It was saved in a bcrypt format. So since I have created one user, let me create one more user. Rishi. Here I am providing the password as Rishi@123. Okay. Now let me run this. See, now the employee IDs and username and password has been saved to the database. In the users table, not in the data. In the data, let me show the data table right now. See, the data table is created, but there are no single records to fetch since I haven't performed that city part yet. Now it give me again that menu to create a user or existing user. Since I have created two users, I am giving option number 2. It says enter the username. Let me give my name and it says password. I am entering the password, but you might not see the password. It says since I have given the incorrect password, it tells me to re-enter the credentials again. It says the login was successful, but there aren't any previous record based upon my username. So I am giving a city name called Mumbai. As you can see, it fetched the Mumbai record. It fetched the Mumbai weather, as you can see here. And if I give the option, and here I am again, here it showed me the same the dashboard. And if I give the prompt with the second option like existing user, and I will give my credentials and I will provide my password. See, as you can see, this is my previous record which I have been visited, which I have been looked earlier. This is my previous record. Earlier here you can see that there aren't no previous record on this user Nikhil. So I will give Hyderabad this time, and it will show the Hyderabad's temperature. What do we have currently right now? And from here I will exit the dashboard by giving the option number 3. It tells me to thanks for your visit, and let's get into the database and let me refresh this page. Yes, as you can see here, I have checked both the Mumbai and Hyderabad cities weather, and I have saved that data into the database by using the API. I hope you all understand my code. Thank you for your visit.